Welcome to Aging with Dignity. I'm your host, Versha. Today we're stepping into a part of the aging journey that every family eventually meets, but few of us know how to talk about. Grief, loss, and the strange, surprising ways we learn to live after everything changes. In September, just a month after losing my mom and the passing of my dad, still very fresh in my heart, I walked into a theater in Montreal with a dear friend to see a show called Big Stuff. I'm not sure I really knew what to expect, and honestly, I wasn't sure I was ready to face a show about grief. But what I found was something rare, a story that let grief breathe, a show that allowed laughter and heartbreak to sit side by side without apologizing for either, where grief wasn't something to get over, but something to move with. It was written and performed by a Canadian married couple, and both are alumni of the Second City in Toronto. They're touring with a piece of art that for me felt like a gift. A reminder that love and loss are inseparable, and humor can sometimes be the only way through. Today, I get to talk with them about grief and their chosen platform. Naomi and Matt Barham. They are the creators and performers behind Big Stuff, a deeply human, darkly funny, beautifully honest exploration of grief. This production touches audiences who see themselves, their losses, and their families reflected in the show. Their work blends comedy with emotional truth in a way that doesn't soften grief, but makes it feel less lonely. Let's begin. Welcome, Naomi and Matt. It's such a pleasure to have you here on Aging with Dignity. For those who may not have had a chance to see your show yet, can you give us a quick overview, almost like a trailer of the show of sorts?
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, Big Stuff is was conceived after the last of all of our parents passed away, and it's how Naomi and I have been dealing with not only the grief of their passing, but all of the stuff that they left behind. And when we left Los Angeles, we had been living there for 5 years or so. We brought all of our stuff from LA, and then we had all of our stuff that was piling up in the basement from all of our parents. And we realized we have two different philosophies about what we do with that stuff in our lives. I throw everything away.
I keep everything, every single thing.
And we thought, oh, there's some conflict there. Plays need conflict. We thought everything else we get along. And
Everything else. We get along in every other capacity.
so this could be, and also we thought it was pretty universal. And we thought, okay, as we got into this more and more, we told more and more people this idea. They thought, oh my God, I'm right in the middle of that, right?
Yeah.
I'm clearing out a basement, or my loved one just passed. And we thought, and the way we deal with things is through comedy. We that's how we process the world. And we thought, oh, what better way than to do a comedy show about grief? What a
Well,
simple.
not two words that go together very, very easily.
What's funnier than grief? Yeah.
So Big Stuff is a unique approach to actually dealing with that concept of grief and exploring that. And you bring and blend that humor with heartbreak so seamlessly. What first pulled each of you towards creating a show on grief, and why through comedy? You talk about that's how you deal with stuff. Was that the motivation? Was there more happening in the space around you?
Well, we had been doing, Matt and I met at Second City. So our background is with improv. And so we've been doing a lot of shows that were improvised with our company, the National Theatre of the World, and then Barham and Sneakus. We had different formats like Impromptu Splendor was improvising plays in the style of different playwrights. Script Tease was improvising plays based on 2 pages written by a playwright. But at the end of it, we were both like, okay, that's the end of that play. We never visited it again. And we both kind of wanted to have something that to hang our hat on a little bit, something that we could actually grow and do again and feel like we were fine tuning it almost. Like, I don't know about you, but like when we were at Second City, if we had a sketch, the very first time you saw the sketch versus the very last time you saw it was so fine tuned and detailed. So this play has given us that opportunity to present something that we can now go in there and fine tune it, which is satisfying.
I like that.
That's, you like that. You accept that. That's good.
I do because hey, too. We wanted to have something to leave behind. I know that that sounds selfish, but we with improvisation, we realized we could have gone through our entire creative careers and never really left anything tangible because of the ephemeral nature of improvisation. It kind of just drifts into the air and dissipates. And with a play, which is not what this is, but a show that is written,
Yeah.
there's a physicalness to it,
Yeah.
which ties in thematically to a show because it is about the stuff that's left behind.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, there's something very satisfying about at the end of the day having a play that maybe could be done by other people, and who knows where we'll take this in the end. But it's funny because it's never the same twice, but it is the same every time.
yeah.
That's actually really well put, and it's you bring the improv into the play environment. I'm going to share a little bit about my how I came to find you.
Yeah.
I saw your show here in Montreal, barely a month after losing my mom. I don't even think we had hit a month.
No.
I hadn't really processed my loss. Thank you. I hadn't really processed that loss, and I knew I was still reeling, actually, from the loss of my father only months earlier. So it was sort of a double.
Girl.
I actually honestly just stumbled upon your show. I had a friend that was visiting me that was coming to spend time with me. And I thought, well, let me look for something fun to do. I didn't want this all to be about my grief. I was, trying to rebuild. And my dear friend Maggie, she came from Atlanta actually, and she came up and I booked the tickets. And I hadn't really understood that audience participation side of it at the time that I booked it. And I think I got a video clip or something when I with the registration that I watched, and I kind of went, "Oh, I don't know if I'm ready for that." So my friend Maggie actually suggested, "Let's just like reconsider this. We'll do something else." She was going to be totally okay with that, but somehow I knew it would be okay. I figured it could be healing. It was just something intrinsic. I knew nothing about the show, but I thought maybe it'll be healing in some way. Either that, or I'm going to totally lose it and to have some sort of breakdown in the middle of your show, which would have added a whole new dimension.
Right.
So would be, oh, thank you. But you know what? I came away with so much more. And that's one of the things I think comedy, what I realized that comedy had a way of dropping your armor. Um, and I guess I'm interested in knowing how you think humor can be such a powerful tool in dealing with things like death and loss, we're all going to experience it, but we're not equipped.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no training, right? There's no training for handling grief. I'm so sorry about your mom and pop. That must have been really hard. Like that's a hard thing to go through so close in time too.
It's very similar to the way you lost your
Yeah,
parents.
yeah. My parents passed away 9 months apart from each other. So same.
Yeah.
I don't know, like comedy and grief, like if you think about the one of the most challenging times of your life, there's usually something funny right next to it. And it usually, as they say with comedy, it's tragedy plus time equals comedy. So if you have like like when your mom passed away, like it was probably really awful, but there was probably something kind of funny right next to it. If you're able to have some time afterwards to be like, oh, that was kind of ridiculous,
Mm.
and we all have those little things. So the fact that we're leaning into it is just sort of giving people also permission to laugh in the world of grief. Like we're all going to deal with grief at some point. So why don't we just A, say it out loud so that we're not alone with it, and B, recognize that there's funny stuff that lives right next to it. Like one of my favorite stories when my father had just died and I had a dentist appointment. And I was sitting in the car just sobbing, and I couldn't get my sobbing under control to go for my appointment. I was like, I'm going to be late. I'm sitting in the car. I'm already 5 minutes late. So I went in and I said, listen, I'm just going to cry through this appointment. And the dentist went, yeah, are you grieving? And I said, yeah. And she's like, okay, open your mouth. So there was no about it. There was no like, oh no, and anything. She was like, yeah, I got it. You're grieving. Let's move on. It's okay. Just cry through it.
You're right. There are those moments that you're right. Looking for the comment. I was in a similar situation where I was heading to a meeting. I sit on the board of the Montreal Alzheimer's Society, and I was heading down. There was some traffic jam, and I happened to stop right in front of the Tim Hortons that my parents would go to, or I would eventually bring coffee from there to them. Looked over, bawling my eyes out. I was crying all the way downtown. I decided to stop and put gas in to kind of collect myself. And then I realized I actually kind of smiled and went, of all the meetings to go to where people would understand the grief was really at that society, right? So yeah, there are those moments that kind of make you smile, and um,
And you like just over there with the other people.
yeah, exactly. I'm sure people walk into your show at various stages of grief, and you use the improv really well for that as well. How do you decide what parts of grief are ready to be laughed at? And what parts do you still treat with reverence?
It's a good question. I just want to clarify too. Like, I think we're not instructing anybody to do any kind of laughing at grief in particular, but we do want people to drop their guard, as you said. So, making them laugh about us and the way we handle our connection to the moment and to each other.
It's usually relatable.
Yeah, it's like we don't want them to feel in any particular way. Uh, it's because we don't have the qualifications to do that.
Not at all.
But what we really want to do is create a space where they're open to talk about it and their stuff and the connections they have to their grief.
Yeah.
So in order to do that, it's that Mary Poppins like spoonful of
Spoonful of
sugar
sugar.
thing.
Yeah.
Because if you regard any of the things theater provides in a medicinal way, then we all know medicine goes down if it's a little sweeter. So improvisation too is like showing people our background is from improv, that we're spontaneous, we're agile, and we're prepared to be unprepared. Is essentially,
Yeah.
and no one's prepared for the feelings we have when we lose someone. But knowing that life is a big improvisation, we're just going through with the best tools we have, and we try to say yes as much as we can, which is a big tenet of improv.
Hmm.
Yes, and if we make mistakes, that's what it is. We have each other to
Yeah.
show up and be there for us. That's the idea.
But I like what you're saying is like we sort of show how we're going through grief, knowing that it's somehow relatable, and then they can laugh at us because
Yeah.
we're messy.
Very much. I mean, the laughter that was coming was really at the scenes that you were creating, right? And the relatability that came from that, that kind of gives you pause to go, oh yeah, that makes sense.
When people bring up their items, like when we
Mhm.
get them to talk about, we give the audience a little card, and there's a sentence, some instructions written on it. It's, what's something in your home that reminds you of someone close to you? And then every once in a while, we draw the card in the show, and that gives us an opportunity to unveil the thing they're thinking of.
And give a platform for people to share their stories as well.
And yeah, there is a little bit of ribbing sometimes when it's like, oh my gosh, that old stuffy of a penguin that doesn't have eyeballs anymore should probably be thrown away.
100% not. 100% not.
And I think we all identify with that struggle, and it's so human to attach yourself to these things. I mean, you don't even have to have a home to have stuff.
Yeah.
It's very human for us to have it.
And what you were saying, Varsha, about the like, is it when do you feel like it's time to grieve, or like when is it okay? Like never ask the audience to put themselves in a position that they're not comfortable in. Like if we pull a card and says, somebody we pulled a card the other day and somebody was like, oh, my mother's vase, and nobody put their hand up to claim it, that's okay. We still honor that card. We'll put it in the nice box and recognize that that card's been pulled, but we don't push anybody to deal with anything that they're not ready to deal with.
Is there one story or one reaction from an audience that's completely surprised you or stayed with you?
So many, so many. It's hard. I
Well,
mean, I have a favorite
there's
as well.
funny examples, and then there's very moving examples.
Okay, for me, one of the most moving ones, and then maybe you have a funny one, but one of the most moving, it was at the Siegel Center, and somebody's card was my grandmother's piano. And he talked about how he learned how to play piano. His grandmother played piano, and he's teaching his kids how to play piano. And then Matt said, "What's some of the songs that you sing?" And he said, um, Your Song, Elton John's Your Song. And Matt was like, "Oh yeah, how does that go?" And suddenly the whole audience was like, "It's a little bit funny." Honestly, it was so
Oh,
beautiful.
wow.
It was so special. And I would say every show, there's something like that that unifies us as an audience, whether it's somebody saying, my stuffed teddy bear, and everybody's like, I got one of those, or singing a song together. Do you have one that's funny? Do you have one that made us laugh recently?
Somebody brought up he collects cacti,
Oh, yeah.
like succulent
Like
plants.
cactuses. And I said, how many do you have? He said, like 20. And then his wife was like, 200.
And so the question I'll ask somebody who collects things is an open-ended question. It's what inspires you about cactuses that you collect them? And he thought about it and he said they thrive on neglect. And
They're writing your comedy.
but
Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
I think you said, you can't be funnier than us.
you're not allowed to be from less.
Oh.
And also, it's like that says a lot about relationship with his wife. But
Anyway, we didn't delve into we're not psychologists. We don't know. We can't delve into that.
But you talk about your personal journey, and it has to be performing. This has to be emotionally loaded. How do you guys decompress? How do you come back to yourselves after going through this night after night? Often,
Good nachos, chicken McNuggets.
we eat a lot of our feeling.
not unusual.
You know, we doing it together. I know, right? We're doing this show together really is a privilege to be able to finish the show. We walk back to the hotel or wherever we're staying together. We decompress about anything that's come up with our stage manager, Saren. Um, and if there's anything, yeah, like it's not always easy. Sometimes it's really emotional, and sometimes it's really, most I would say most of the times it's very rewarding and healing. I don't think we've ever come away from a show feeling depleted. We usually come away feeling very like supported and loved. So we're very lucky.
Yeah, the show could be really difficult to do in rehearsal and in our tech days leading up to the show because we have to do the show repeatedly without an audience. And that could be depleting because
Yes.
we're going through all of the stages without any of the response and because the show's just built on the audience.
Yeah.
So once we get the audience, we reminded like, oh, this is why we're doing it. We're giving something to them, and that's very regenerative.
Nice.
Um,
We don't get that much from an empty seat during rehearsals. You can't get anything emotional from those seats.
That makes a lot of sense too. Even as a participant in the audience, I took away more by leaving part of me behind almost. Right. So there was that giving into.
Oh, that's nice.
So there, I can see how that you're not overwhelmed each night. But we do talk about moving on. I think you do too, right? So um, it's more about moving forward and how. I guess how does that look like to you, moving forward as opposed to just moving on from the grief?
Yeah, I got something. Somebody said once you don't move on, like you don't move past grief, you just learn to live with it. Right. Somebody drew me a picture once of like grief being this thing and the circle around it. We just have to start to learn how to live with it because it's going to always be part of me. Um, which isn't always the worst. Like sometimes, I find grief kind of comforting if I'm like, my heart is touched and I'm reminded about my father or my mom, and I find it comforting. So I don't think we move past it. I think we learn to move with it.
Yeah.
yeah. Well, in connection with the stuff of the show, my whole idea of like, please get rid of all of this stuff. It's cluttering our lives. It's just this constant reminder of people that we've lost. Naomi has started to, like, if we get invited to a dinner party, she'll bring a casserole in one of her mother's dishes
It's my
and then just leave us.
it's like it's the opposite of thievery. So I'll take something of my mom's, like a vase, and I'll put some flowers in it, and then I'm like, that is now yours. And then I'll tell the story about my mom and why she had an addiction to beautiful things, and then I give them permission to break it or to give it away or whatever they want to do. But we've had that transaction that is quite comforting too, because then you get to share a story about my mom.
Naomi, I think that's beautiful. I'm actually in the process of decluttering and taking the stuff from my parents' home right now. And I'm very much more like you, Naomi, where the stuff has all these stories behind it. And do I really just want to give it to charity? Do I just want to dump it in the garbage? No, because it has those stories. So I love that idea. And friends and family who are listening, be prepared because I'm going to start coming with some of those items. And I love it because it gives us a chance to talk about and remember our parents, and they've got their stories too. So it's a conduit. Absolutely.
And also, if you brought something to me of your mom's, I would be like, what a gesture. That's so lovely. I'm gonna like hold on to that as a memory of you and then our friendship. So I mean, I'm a fan.
Not you've got more stuff coming. So many in our
I was just gonna say something.
Many in our Aging with Dignity community here are caregivers or adult children of that are losing their parents. What do you wish they knew about grief that we rarely say aloud?
That's a great question. I got some. I would say, you know that phrase like "tell me if you need anything" when people are grieving. Let me know if you need anything. But the thing about grief is you don't know what you need. So being somebody that just shows up, like the best thing that people did for me when I have been or when have great grieved, presently or past, is just showing up, being present, or dropping off like some food without any questions about it. I'm not gonna ask you how to help you. I'm just gonna help you. And that's the most important because you don't know. You don't know what you need when you're grieving.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah. It's it's a challenging time. We I think there's comfort in knowing that we all go through it, but at the same time, when you're going through it, that's not much of a comfort. I would say, um, if you can try and remember that this is a moment of your life, that it's just a single flash of
Mm.
your life, and it gets much easier over time. It's not right away, but you're living in the hard time so that you can enjoy and find joy later. And your parents are giving you and loved ones are giving you a gift. Um, but it's hard to see it right now.
Also, it's like unexpressed love. You grieve because you didn't get a chance to tell them one more time. And truthfully, it'll never be enough time. Like if you love your parents, if you love people that are passing, you'll always want one more moment together. So I know the best thing that people did for me was just show up. They didn't have to do anything. Like when people are like, I didn't know what to say, so I didn't say anything. That's not just turn up. Just be like, I love you and show up in some capacity. You don't have to have the right thing to say
Yeah, people
or do.
I've seen, and I'm sure you have as well, such a spectrum of how people deal with grief on the outside, right? So people, they're not necessarily grieving, but dealing with a coworker or a friend or a family member who is grieving, and that just not knowing what to say and not being able to show up is actually quite common in at least my short experience.
Yeah.
Very common.
Yeah.
What I have a question for you.
Go ahead.
Well, what was the nicest thing that somebody did for you when you were grieving?
Oh my gosh. A couple of things actually. There was such a My parents were very well known in Montreal. And there was an outpouring of love that came in when my father suddenly had cardiac failure, and my mother had Alzheimer's and was already in a hospital bed. So people were aware of mom's situation. The outpouring of love that came that was unconditional. Um, it was towards my parents, but I was here, so I was receiving it. Meant the world to me. I didn't know that I even needed that. the friend Maggie, and then there's a couple of other friends that just, showed up. They came from out of town and they said, I know it's going to be busy at the funeral time. I'll come after. We'll spend some time together. Or they've invited me to their homes and I went. Um, I didn't even realize how much I needed that. That break afterwards and to kind of reset and find my equilibrium again. So I think those were the big takeaways. There's a lot of little ones that we can. And when I was going through it all with my father, I remember saying, "Oh my God, there's all this negativity," and I said, "I'm just going to park it up here." And I said, "But there's all this beautiful positivity, and I'm going to park it up here too," because I had no idea what to do with it. And I remember talking to a friend, and I said, I know I'm gonna have to do something with it. I just don't know what. Do I have to go for therapy? Like, I had no clue. And fast forward, it all got channeled into the podcast. So the podcast is a beautiful thing that has come out of this whole journey for me. This was never on my radar. I've never done this before. I've never hosted anything. I'm not in the media world. Every time I hear that an episode is resonating and helping a person or a family, I feel I've done my job. And it's a community service podcast. We're not monetizing it. So I just feel, okay, I've done my job. Got to keep going. Got to keep bringing people on here. Yeah. So as both of you have said that you've lost your parents, so you've been through this several times yourselves. Did grief actually reveal anything about your partner to you that you didn't know before, whether it be something beautiful or something difficult? Did it change how you love each other?
Well, I mean, it definitely deepened our love the way Matt showed up for me and for my pop and my mom while they were in their different stages. Definitely deepened our love. Did it reveal anything? I always knew he was a good guy. I always knew that, yeah, he'd be by my side. So um, that wasn't surprising. I don't know. Did you have anything that was shocking with the way we dealt with it?
That's a great question. I think that for sure I saw a side of you that completely abandoned yourself and put your whole self into a vigil
Mm,
for your parents. You really put your whole self into get their last days. Um, it was worrisome. I was concerned, but also I knew that that's just the way you were going to deal with it. And and I think it will also made me think about how sad it is that my mother couldn't have known you
mm,
the way I know she would have just absolutely adored you. And I think it would have, I don't know, I see so much of you in her and her and you. And I also see so much of your parents now
mm,
because we shared that experience of saying goodbye.
mhm.
Um, yeah, it really brought us closer
Yeah, it
together.
did. Yeah.
Now we have each other to do the things that our parents did for us in a way. So we ask more from each other. And I've
Mhm.
adopted some of what Vic did for you and what Anne did for you and all the positive and negatives about that. And I think you do the same for me.
Yeah. Yeah. It was very rewarding, like watching Matt show up, as I said, for my folks. But just for me, like I remember um a moment where my father had just passed away and Matt said, let me pour you," like, I think he made me a bowl of chips or something like that, and I cried because I hadn't been intaking anything. I'd been just caring and caring, and his offer of care, is just it's extraordinary. I feel very cared for by this guy.
This is so beautiful, and I think we see
I did.
lucky families. 100%, you are lucky, both of you, and grief shows us our true characters as well. I think in so many ways, it challenges us in things that we don't know. We don't know how we're going to react in these situations, maybe reveals our truer selves to each other. Maybe not the outside world, but inside. And hopefully, if you've chosen the right partner, you're continuing to be awed by what they bring to you at that time. And Naomi, I want to just apologize. I know I've that question led you to tears. I can hear it in your voice as well. But I think it's a testament to the love, not only between you and Matt, but what you've done with your parents and both of you, what you've learned from that and taking it forward. I want to ask you if you've got any final.
Well, I need to. Oh, I was just gonna say, I certainly don't mind crying. I certainly don't mind showing emotion because it's love.
Mm,
Like, I have such deep love for my parents. If I cry because of my parents, it's because I had the blessing, the fortune of having parents that I had a deep love for.
Some people don't.
Yeah, like, I'm very lucky, and if I cry over this guy, I'm lucky. I have no problem. I think more people should cry in public.
I would like to die first.
Oh, yeah, we've talked he because you don't wanna be, stuck with all the stuff.
First, that's one.
Yeah.
And also, by the way, sometimes I will close my eyes for a nap, and Naomi is like,
Well,
"Okay, let's here we go. It's time."
to go,
I'm like, just
and then I'll be like, "Oh, I'm gonna get more stuff now."
yeah.
No, we're very lucky, and, when it is just the two of us, we show up for each other. We're really fortunate that way.
yeah, we're gonna continue to do this, and just in the same way your podcast was born out of a sad time in your life, and now it's this positive thing.
Yeah,
Same with our show. Our show is continuing, and it's their legacy. You're continuing your parents' legacy.
yeah,
And that's something.
yeah.
Thank you for that. Yes. You guys give permission every night to feel everything. As this starts to wind down in a long, long time from now, is there something that you're carrying forward from these shows with you?
Oh, so much, so much, so much about us as a couple, so much about my art and the value of creating art. I definitely feel like we've created something I'm really proud of, and um
Humanity.
humanity. Oh my gosh, the stories we get are such gifts every night.
You live your life sometimes just on social media, for example, and you don't know that people are inherently decent and they're here to show off for each other.
Yes. Yeah. I know it.
It can seem pretty dark,
Yeah.
but it's really like it's nice that we get to experience humanity
Yeah.
on such a scale, and to know that it's universal is very cool.
Yeah.
It's the place where we'd rather not be anywhere else.
Yeah, watching audiences show up for each other in this show, like, somebody speaks about something and you can feel a whole audience just breathing and giving that person space to talk about that. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Naomi and Matt. Would you like to share a little bit about your touring right now? We're at the end of January. How long does this continue? Where are some of the places? Are you taking this on the road? I know we've talked a little bit about that in the past, but what's coming up? Where can people find you?
Yeah. So
Montreal.
we met in Montreal where you saw the show. That was our first stop on the tour.
At the Siegel Center for the
Mhm.
Performing Arts.
Yep. And then we went to Citadel in Edmonton.
And then we went to GCTC in Ottawa.
Yeah. And we're at the Prairie Theatre Exchange right now in Winnipeg. And then we'll go to the Belfry in Victoria. And
Then we're going to go to Edinburgh,
Edinburgh
Scotland
Festival.
for the Fringe Festival.
Fun.
There's a gigantic Fringe Festival there.
Yeah. And then we'll go to Vancouver Arts Club.
Yeah.
And then who knows? There's talk about New York and London. And so we'll just keep going because it's a pleasure to do this show. So yeah.
And we're working on a new show for Crow's Theatre in Toronto.
Yeah, for April 2027.
27. Okay, I'll watch out for that one too. I'm glad to hear that you're going to Edinburgh. And one of my questions was actually, do you see taking this globally because it's a global issue? And I'm glad that you're starting to touch on those other destinations. Thank you so much, both of you, for creating the show, for bringing. Go ahead. You want to say?
Can I ask you, because this was this wild, I don't know, like when the universe works like this, but you were the person that came up and helped decorate the stage. So every night I choose somebody from the audience that helped decorate the stage, and just by chance, it was you.
Yeah,
What was that experience like?
that was really. I had just so my girlfriend was sitting next to me, and I was holding the tears back because I was right in the front row, and I didn't want to be bawling my eyes out. Um, so I was holding it together, and every time there'd be a tender moment, she would reach over and touch my arm, and that compassion was releasing the tears, so I would gently have to take her hand and take it off, and I was just at the point of the tears about to flow when you kinda pointed to me and said, "Come up and give me a hand," and I had no clue. I thought you were gonna make me say something. I thought you were gonna make me part of the skit where I'm performing. I was not prepared, and, when it was putting up the Christmas lights, I'm like, "This is easy. This is okay." I wish I turned to the audience at least because I think I turned. I was very aware of my face at that point, but it was, it also stayed with me because it was another level of the participation that you engineer in it. And that whole scene of putting up the lights, and then, Matt, I think it was you at the end, maybe it was both of you, I can't recall. The cards that you had not read from, you start reading at the very, very end. And I just thought that just gave life to everyone's issues, whether it was a conversation during the improv bit or not. It wasn't that, oh, well, I wrote that, but they didn't use it. It was part of the show, so that was also a very beautiful moment at the end. Yeah. But you guys have created something that is absolutely wonderful, and it's universal. Thank you for sharing some of the insights behind the creation of it, and I know I digged a little bit into your personal life as well, so thank you for being very, very open with that. Appreciate you joining.
Thank you. This has been such a lovely chat. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
If today's conversation reminded you of someone you've lost and loved, I hope it's also reminded you that grief isn't a problem to solve. It's a love story that continues in a different form. Naomi said that herself. Naomi and Matt continue to tour with Big Stuff, and I encourage you to check out and enjoy the show when it's next in your neighborhood. An evening that is so incredibly well spent, I can say so myself. And if this episode sparked something for you, please share it with your family, your friends, or anyone you care about. And don't forget to hit like and subscribe to this podcast if you're enjoying what you hear. Thank you for listening in and sharing your time with me. Please join me each week for new insights into aging with dignity. Until next time, reminding us all to age gracefully and live vibrantly. Everything you've heard today, just real talk. It's just our personal stories, experiences, and honest opinions. This podcast isn't providing legal, medical, financial, or therapeutic advice. And no, listening doesn't make me or my guests your lawyer, doctor, financial advisor, or therapist. The guests and I are here to share stories, spark ideas, and hopefully give you something to think about. When it comes to the big decisions, make sure you do your homework or check in with the experts who know your situation best. We're here to keep the conversation going. You're the one in the driver's seat.